accidental. We decided a long time ago to, although in some respects we were different, we blended hard and soft stories together. We are not ashamed to mix serious newsmaker interviews and hard investigative pieces with very light features. We're there for you in the morning and on the ride home, and we're not trying to make you completely distressed with the world as you're beginning or ending your day. But we've kept to a pretty conservative agenda of what the news is about, of what a reporter should do, about what is the line between reporting and commentary. And while there's been a great change around us in many other media, certainly in broadcasting, we've hung in there, and we have both profited from our own successes and from the glaring failures of some competitors. NPR today is well listened to. We are not ambushing people by getting the news on just about as you're about to tune in really to hear or to watch Jeopardy. You know, it's not an adjacency. So if you want to tune in and listen to people talk about the world, people know that. We pay more modestly than other electronic news media, although as someone at the top of the scale of all that, I'm not complaining. We're certainly not hurting. Make a career working in public radio. We are an interesting mix of citizen volunteerism. Stations are supported by listeners who, as I say, do this irrational thing of paying for something that they could have for free. Non-profit civic institutions, typically around the country, they will be state universities, but in some cases, as in New York, they're independent licensees, or in some cases, they're private universities. We have some school board stations. They own us. The stations own us at the network. Other networks have owned and operated radio stations. We have an owned and operated network. Doesn't make for easy system decision making. When all the stations have one vote in the annual plenum that they hold, and Ketchikan, Alaska has one vote, and New York has one vote. But somehow it's managed to serve an audience rather effectively in times when some very venerated institutions of American journalism have hit very hard times. My bosses are very convinced that our future is online, that we should be more and more doing more work for you to either listen to or even read on your computer, or on your iPhone, or through a podcast. We're very big in podcasting. I'm still, and I must say, as you talk to people as they, in groups younger and younger, people under 30 tend to regard FM radio in the way that my kids regarded AM radio when I would tune in for ball games, as a really strange thing that your parents will listen to. Or perhaps as I regarded my father's shortwave radio set. Kind of strange, what an odd way to listen to something. And they tend to listen through new media, and we're pretty active in that regard. Like all media, we face this challenge from the web, the challenge of disintermediation, of cutting out all intermediaries in so many activities. Whether it's, well, in journalism, it means that the producer who very carefully figures out what the sixth story should be that will run between 5:08 p.m. and 5:29 p.m. may present that order to the people who listen to it on the radio, but they are pulled apart and listened to in whatever order people choose by simply going to the web and listening to them a little bit later, in effect becoming their own editors and making their own programs for themselves. This is true of many walks of life, and it's certainly true for us. So far, we have managed to hold it together and continue to grow, which I find quite, as I say, thinking back 30 years, sometimes quite surprising. I'm going back to Washington tomorrow, where my friend Scott Simon, who's the host of Weekend Edition Saturday, and I think one of the most talented people I've ever worked with, will host an event called NPR Without Dignity, which would be an evening with Tom and Ray Maiazzi from Car Talk, and the cast of our weekly news quiz, Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Have an evening of comedy at the Reagan Building in Washington, D.C. Those programs, too, have been absolutely instrumental in keeping our system afloat and connected with people.